It's a lovely day as usual, and from this side of the divide, we are very happy to be with you for a lot of reasons. One primary one is the fact that we're going to be talking about something that affects every part of our society: the home, the workplace, relationship, all of it. What is it? It is illicit drug use or illicit drug abuse. Now, the month of June usually is, fixed for this kind of celebration or mark or awareness, whatever you call it. So we on this side will be looking at why are we having, that spike in use, and why are we having increments in even those who are, peddlers of these things. Who are those very much affected? Why are women seemingly becoming very obviously participants of this very bad act? It is depressing, and it's not our culture, which is why we will be addressing it very thoroughly today. We'll have somebody join us from NDLEA, NDLEA, and at the end of the day, we hope that we'll be able to touch your lives and make you think better, behave better, and be better people for your family and society at large. My name is Elizabeth, and I have beautiful ladies seated with me. Jingles by Joy, jingle bell, jingle bell. You're looking very radiant.
Thank you very much. Good morning. It's good to be here today.
Thank you very much. And Baggy Babe. You're repping your culture very well. That's nice.
Good morning. I'm Maimuna Omi Abdullah, aka Coach Lindy. It's good to be here.
All right. Hello. Today
Yes.
you're not tying your hair.
I decided because it wouldn't look nice on
Yes,
this.
true. Okay, yes,
What
yes,
I had on last week was a kaftan, which I felt it would be better if I tie my hair. So it's nice to be here. My name is Deva Hamation, mom.
Okay. Mother, daughter of Hamation,
Wife of mom.
wife of mom.
I make the distinction because on Facebook I'm still Deva Hamation, so people tend to refer to me as Mrs. Hamation, and no, I am Mrs. Mom, the daughter of Hamation. I couldn't change my name after I got married on
Registered.
Facebook because I already had too many followers.
Yes.
So they have restrictions on the page, so I couldn't. Yeah, so people keep calling me Mrs. Hamation. No.
I just answer it. They call
You
me
can't be
Mrs.
married to
Abdullahi,
your
and
father.
I just walk up past. To be honest.
Oh, the calling is Abdullahi.
Yeah, Abdullahi is
no,
my father's name.
I make the correction.
I don't, to be honest. I don't
It's
remember.
okay. All right. This week again is Civil Service Week.
Yes, yes.
And we are all civil servants, by, I know Joy.
I'm not.
Joy is telling me I'm not.
I'm not either.
I'm not.
But I have been.
By virtue of the fact that you are here
Yeah.
with me, you're a
Okay.
civil servant
All right, if
society.
you say so.
So we're celebrating ourselves. We know we all work hard. Some don't, but a lot of us work hard. And at the end of the day, sometimes we complain, but we thank God that we're alive and we're receiving what we're receiving, and we even have the energy to come out. And the theme says, using the technology world, digital worlds to transform civil service. And I'm wondering, how ready are we? Let me even ask, how many of us here, BBC, born before computer?
I think, well,
BBC, born before computer. How much of
I don't think
digital?
any of us were born before computers.
You know what I
but
mean? You were born before computer,
laptops,
so
maybe.
Yes.
so you don't really use your computer very
Nah.
well. How much of it do you use?
No,
for
I'm old school. Sorry.
Oh wow!
I'm old school.
And
Well, I'm half because my work depends on
It's on,
the digital work
I'm old
content
school.
I create. But funny enough, I'm more of an iPad person than a laptop.
Yeah, I understand.
So it's
Okay.
half.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I would say I'm a fairly digital person because
So your work.
I spend most of my time on the internet,
Yeah.
social media. I do a lot of digital. I produce digital products and things like that. So
nah, okay, that's good. It actually means that you can do a lot of leveraging, using the digital world to sell
Yes.
the products.
yes,
And I think, Joy, you do a bit of it, but I think you should actually get more because your products are really good, like what you're wearing.
Yes.
But
jingle
even
by
though
joy.
you're not a civil servant,
Yeah.
you can cash in, use the digital world to get more customers.
You see, there's something I noticed on Instagram which is very sad. The digital world. I don't know why you put a design there. Somebody else goes to say, reports you, And you might have how many followers, and one day you just wake up in the morning
And your page is gone.
and you're gone.
Yeah.
It's disabled. So if people are reporting people, I should think that they should ask you. So you see, with the digital world, sometimes there are disadvantages and advantages. So for me, they always disable, which is really sad.
All right, it's good. This morning, somebody called my attention to something I've been using for a very long time, and he said, this thing says don't use it more than 3 times. So it's good, whatever we are trying to get involved, we read all about it, understand the guideline of using it. That way we don't make errors.
True.
Maybe ways to protect yourself when you're on the digital market.
Space.
It's important we get to understand it, because by and large, it's very important. For the civil servants, we complain a lot about transports because of fuel and all of that. And I think using your data to work from home can actually go a long way to help out. But when you bring that up, a lot of us again will tell you, I don't have data. How do I get this? How do I do that? It's a question of getting to understand. And for your offices, office space, you get to save amenity, you get to save a whole lot if you actually do it from home. And at the end of the day, you also balance yourself. So why I'm making this story is so that as we celebrate leveraging on digital world for better service, civil service, people should learn, be abreast of time. I in the past never really used Google Slides to do a lot of things. I use Microsoft, but I had a boss who came in and insisted I should do it. I was going to pass it down to somebody to get done, but the person wasn't available. I had to sit down.
To do it yourself.
And I gained the knowledge, really.
Yeah,
I gained the knowledge.
important.
And I think I'm trying to use it more often, so I get used to it and be better at it.
No,
That's
but if COVID came, and it worked for us. So I don't see why, after all, abroad and other things, that's what is done, and you get your everything, you get everything sorted. So I think we should learn, and our offices don't have to see us most of the time.
True.
It's a good way.
True.
Yes.
All right, so our topic again is illicit drug use, and we're going to quickly take a look at holistic look at the statistics of drug use, especially here in Nigeria. It's over to you.
Daily, our national news media are constantly punctuated by news on illicit drug abuse. The frequency is fast becoming a pandemic. A recent research by the WHO reveals that drug users represent approximately 0.9% of the world's population, which alcohol abuse accounts for 3.3 million deaths annually, and 31 million people are documented to suffer from drug use. More than 2.6 million people in the 10 to 24 year age bracket die yearly from drug and substance abuse. Drug abuse is the use of illegal drugs or the use of prescribed drugs for purposes other than which it was prescribed for. The abuse of drugs is something that we Nigerians have always partook in, albeit subconsciously. A report by the United Nations Office on Drug and Crime in Nigeria indicates that 14.4% of people aged between 15 and 64 years abuse drugs. Over the years in Nigeria, drug abuse has become more prevalent, especially amongst our youth. Research further shows that in Nigeria especially, there are 4 types of drugs that are being abused: cannabis, heroin, cocaine, and amphetamine-type stimulants and inhalants. Despite the praises that drug addicts may pile on drugs to get people to indulge in taking illicit drugs, drug abuse or drug addiction can lead to low self-esteem, memory challenges, attention deficits, poor social skills, and poor grades for students. More so, the side effects may in some cases not be experienced immediately, but it doesn't negate the fact that at the end of the day, 98% of the time, drug abuse is detrimental to our health. We have discovered that a major factor that pushes drug abuse is curiosity. And to that, we on Conversations believe that It is far more easier to avoid temptation than to resist temptation. So, why don't you stay off any kind of abuse, especially drug abuse?
Hey, thank you very much, especially for that hairstyle.
And then we're wondering between you talking about the drugs and who should go to feed.
I know. All right, thank you very much. It was a beautiful one. But then I noticed the statistics she dropped there for the women is pretty high, and is a concern because growing up, we were told that women were supposed to, be epitome of good behavior, good, including what you take in, what you give out, and all of that. Why are we having so much spike upwards of women getting involved in drugs?
Honestly, from my work, I'm a mental health coach, and I focus a lot more on women mental health. Many women are having challenges emotionally. It's emotional distress, and most of it, believe me, 90% of it, and I'm just being fair, because ordinarily I would say 98% of this problem stem from marriages. Family problems. In the broader perspective is the family problems, but you can break it down to marriages, divorce, so it is marriage again, single parenthood, single mothers, in-laws, the drama too. But yeah, it's some in-law problems that led to, because sometimes it can be really intense.
Yeah.
And then parenting. So you see, it's related all to marriage. Many women are unhappy. Many women are unhappy. The cases of abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse is so high. The weapon of control in the African setting is economic power. Yeah. Economic power is the weapon of control by men. And that is why many men shy away or are reluctant to have women who are economically empowered, because you cannot control a person who is herself, who has money of her own. And dare I say it on air, the reason why women take the crap they take is because they have no choice. Many women, because if you can afford to be on your own, not that that's what you want, you can just say, I beg, I no do. But many women are in relationships that they hate, in marriages that they hate, but they can't get out. There is no support system. You go to your mother says, I went through the worst with your father. So just go back there and pray it away. And that's the motto, pray it away. Keep praying and keep hoping. And then sometimes if you're unlucky, you have the wrong circle, they will just suggest, why don't you just take this small something? Mm-hmm. It will help you sleep. Because you are carrying man problem on your head. You cannot eat, you cannot sleep, you cannot function. So somebody suggests in good faith, use this. I've been using it to sleep, so that at least I will not worry too much. And then you start to, and that's the thing about psychoactive drugs. You use it once, you get this high that makes you feel good, 100%. Then the next time you take it, you cannot get 100% again. You will get maybe 98%.
So what do you do?
So you take it more and more, because the more you take the drugs, the more the effect decreases. So that's why they keep adding and increasing it. Mm-hmm. And before you can say Jack Robinson, somebody is hooked. And that's why I tell people, please come from a place of empathy for people who do drugs. I'm not making excuses for them.
That's right.
But people hardly wake up and say, Kai, it's a beautiful morning, let me take some crack.
Yes.
Many people who take drugs, many of them are taking it as a coping mechanism, an unhealthy one, but it's a coping mechanism for them. So believe me, that's why I think we have to create more awareness. And I'm not here to play the blame game. It's not that, okay, all marriages are bad. No, but believe me, the cases of narcissism, toxicity, negativity, infidelity in marriages today, it's to the roof. And you're expected to take it, Yes, so many women who take it in silence, but something has to give. When you put a bucket under a tap and you open the tap, water comes out. Of course, the bucket will get filled, and over time it will overflow. So sometimes that overflow is what happens, and then somebody will just lose it.
Okay. I don't know, Devon, do you seem to agree? Or?
I feel as if marriages today are actually better. I could be wrong. I feel as if my mother's generation took far worse from their husbands without becoming dependent on drugs, for instance. Like, I know that in my mother's generation, money or no money, you could run away from that man and your parents would beat you up, tie you up and bring you back and beg the man.
And I apologize to the man.
Yes, and apologize to the man for your, yes, for your strong-headedness. So right out the door, you knew that you didn't have a support system. Even it went beyond your mother telling you, go back and pray.
True.
You know, they would threaten you. They would tell you not to bring shame upon them. They didn't even want to know what the man had done. Yeah? You had that. You had men who would regularly get involved with their wives' sisters. Sometimes to the point of making children with those, and your parents would still be the ones to come and support the man and tell you how you should endure. Because after all, the money is going to remain within the family. He didn't go outside. And all kinds of crap. So I really feel as if, you know, when I see small girls on social media talking about men want our generation of women to be like their mothers, are they like their fathers? You should thank God that today's generation of men are not like their fathers. Today's generation of men have people asking them questions, even if not in their family. The larger society, for instance, a video comes out of a man putting his hands on his wife. You see the man insulted, you know, trashed. 1 or 2 NGOs will come for him. He may lose his job. Back then, it was standard practice. You dare not even complain. So what I'm wondering is it that our mothers back then were emotionally and psychologically stronger, or they just didn't have access to these products? Which one is it?
To be honest, how would you even know?
No,
because
what?
you see, whether they were psychologically stronger or not.
That's why I'm asking
because
the
you see, there are signs and symptoms that we took for granted. Many of our mothers were really angry women.
Oh, yes, they were.
So you see, and that's the effect.
They were. But these ones that are taking drugs now, are they not angry?
They are angry and
they're
still
angry
taking the drugs.
too.
Yeah,
so I'm asking,
I think it wasn't.
My question
those drugs
is,
were not,
how did those ones get by without doing drugs?
How do you know they weren't doing drugs? That's another thing. You don't know.
Because it might be local drugs.
Yes.
How do we know now that they are doing it?
Because of social media. It's rampant now.
Social.
We're more aware now because
You know,
I also think that back then
some
it
of
was
the
much
drink,
harder
some of
to
those
get these
drugs
Yeah.
were there,
much
like
harder,
the
definitely.
like the Indian hemp.
Yeah.
You know, I think it has always been there.
It has always been
you
there.
know, used to cooked and all of that, but it was on a very moderate, ratio. So people didn't get to notice what was going on. But I also think that I pretty much like Devon. I don't think our mothers went that far. Reason was morals were still, held intact.
Exactly.
A lot of things were still a taboo. I couldn't have seen any lady, if I was in that era, coming out of her house half naked and accept her. In fact, once there was something wrong with you socially, people close their doors. People close their doors against you. When you buy a car and bring to the village,
They will ask you questions.
they are going to ask, how did he make this money?
What are you
Is it not these people we just sent to Obodo Yibo to go and study? When did he even come back that he has already bought this kind of a vehicle? They interrogate your source of wealth. Because of that, people don't want to be ridiculed. And once they know that you're into ritual money, for instance, nobody wants you to come around their house to befriend their son, talk less of marrying their daughter. So, but now, they'll tell you the end justifies the means. And they will go, they even give you title.
Bench in the church.
Exactly.
Because you are
And
the
they
highest
call you,
contributor.
and they call you
I used to
Odogu.
hear, they call you
Odogu.
Odogu. Yeah, thank you.
You know this thing you're saying about, all the questions you just said. 2 weeks ago, I had a friend who were quite close. She normally does not talk, but I know she has marriage issues. She has marriage issues, and she bottles them and lies. I pity her and I feel for her. Why? Because you see, you have a bad marriage. So why are you pretending to me, who is single, that you have a good marriage? But you know what? As long as he makes her happy, I don't have a problem. But I realized that we're talking illicit drugs. And I'm happy he's here to. There's a big problem about a particular drug. It's quite expensive. And, they said it's not illicit. My friend used to be kind of big. And I just realized that every day she's losing weight, losing weight, losing weight. And one day I asked her, she said she was taking Ozempic. Many people are taking Ozempic. Ozempic is meant to be a diabetic drug. I do not understand why many women are taking Ozempic to lose weight because they want their husbands to look at them, or their spouses or their boyfriends to look at them as being slim. Have we
Did
asked?
she say that? Did she say that's why she's taking it?
Yeah, that's why she's taking it.
Taking Ozempic for
It's for the weight.
No, for weight
Yeah.
loss, yes.
Yeah.
But motive.
Yeah,
What's
the
the
motive.
motive?
The
Did she say
motive
for her
is
husband?
because I think the husband goes for the bottle figure. You know, that's why there's BBL and all that happening right now. And there is a problem. I want people to talk about Ozempic. Ozempic is not safe. Everybody says this person takes it. You don't have a nutritionist. You don't have a doctor that stays in your house. You want to compare yourself with those people who are there, who have the money. Even Ozempic is not even cheap.
It's not cheap.
It's not cheap. So I don't know, there is a problem. Ozempic has taken over.
You
And we
know,
should talk about it.
when I read through it, somebody
Yeah.
was actually trying to buy me into it when I said I wanted to lose weight. And I wasn't losing weight for anybody, it was just for myself.
Beautiful.
It's good to know.
Yes.
I said I don't do anything until I go through it and do a lot of consultation. And I didn't even go too deep inside.
into it.
I got scared because
Yeah.
number one, it reduces your bone density and it leaves
that's
your
crazy.
body open for
Ozempic?
Yes.
Wow, that's
it
crazy.
cuts down your bone density very bad, and then before you know, you reach the age 40 or 50, your body muscles and tissues and all of that are dilapidating. You know, because that's what it's chopping on. At the end of the day, you have more issues before you know it. So if it's not prescribed, don't take it. And if it's prescribed, follow prescription, because even the ones that are prescribed is for a certain number
Period
of
of time.
times. You know.
Can I quickly add something? You see, our major problem as a people is always looking for the easy way out.
Yes.
Yes.
I agree.
Yes.
We don't like to do the work.
Yeah.
We don't want to earn it. You are having problems with your weight, you're having problems with your whatever. You don't go into the problem head on and find solution. You
That's
want
it.
quick fix.
Yeah.
And this is where we are.
That's why most of the time
It's always
illicit
about
drugs-
quick fix.
Yeah, that's the truth.
And there are some people who are not designed to be slender.
Thank you.
Thank
Simple.
you.
Just as there are some people who will never gain weight in this life.
No
And
matter
you
how
know
much
they
they
eat,
eat and they
They come
do.
in all different
Sizes.
shapes and sizes, complexions, heights, and things like that, because variety makes the world go round. And there are men out there who actually prefer plus-sized women. There are men that you cannot
Wow.
pay. No, I mean, like, you should know.
Yeah.
Like, you should totally know.
And
Like,
then, can I
there
quickly
are
add
men you
something,
can't pay to date a woman.
uh,
Of size. She has to be
Aishwarya
big.
Rai. Aishwarya Rai was the most beautiful woman in the world.
Who?
Aishwarya Rai. She was an
Yeah,
Indian.
yeah.
Her husband cheated.
Yeah, it's never about beauty.
So it is not about that. It's not
It's
about
not-
your
yes.
size. It's not about you. See, a person who wants to cheat wants to cheat.
Yes, yes.
You must.
that-
You
that's
might be
true.
the most beautiful woman in the world, but he still wants something
You
else.
are even mentioning Aishwarya Rai, that it took me a second to remember who she is. No go for Beyonce. Nko.
You guys are wicked.
I mean, it's not about looks. See Beyonce, they resemble Mami Wata. They move out. She makes her own money. She's
sexy, yes.
intelligent. She's
I'm
got
telling
stars. If she can't cook, she can hire chefs
Simple.
of international
International
standards.
standards,
to cook.
yeah.
She can hire international standard cleaners to
Bam.
take care of.
I didn't say that
I
we
think
will be
sometimes
having
it gives them a flex to
someone
just
from
reduce
the
you.
NDLEA to speak to us on certain issues around drugs, especially the spike on the side of a female angle. And I know that Barrister Shedrack Haruna is ready to join us. He is, yes. Okay, let me let you, tell us yourself who you are. Kindly tell us who you are, really.
Good morning, viewers. My name is Shedrack Haruna. I'm the secretary to NDLEA, and I head the secretariat of NDLEA.
Thank you very much. While we're still on you, we might as well just get it through. While we're talking, we have been, mentioning a whole lot of things about drugs, illicit drugs, and all of that. When do we begin to, can you help us make that clear distinction? I know some time ago somebody asked me, do you do drugs? I said, yes, I do my vitamins and all of that. So I don't know. Give us the distinction.
Sorry, give you a decision on what?
Yeah, give us clarification. When is it bad? Because I know drugs are supposed to help our bodies. When is it now bad that we call it abuse? And which ones are illicit?
Oh, okay, is that what you mean? Well, we have drug abuse and we have the use of illicit drug. Drug abuse is when drug is being used without prescription. And when we say without prescription, is either the doctor did not ask you to use that particular drug for a particular ailment, or you use it over and above the dose required for that particular ailment. And that is when you use illicit drugs for a particular type of ailment. And that is where drug abuse will come in. And drug abuse in the sense of illicit drug is also the use of illicit drugs for whatever purposes you want to use it for, if it is not prescribed by a doctor. And that again itself is a crime. And possession of such drugs, which are classified as illicit, like cocaine, cannabis, heroin, morphine, and so many of them of that class constitute an offense, and it's also referred to as drug abuse. But what we do generally in our jurisdiction here is we use drugs for everything. But of course, if you say prescribed medicine, particularly the one that is prescribed as illicit, then you make that distinction clearly. And some have made the mistake of saying drugs, drugs all the time. And in some jurisdiction, when you refer to drugs, drugs means illicit drugs. Though, of course, it's a generic name for all type of drugs, just like medicine is generic for all type of drugs. But that classification is always there. But when it comes to abuse of any of this type, illicit drugs is abused when it is not prescribed or when it is overused. Illicit drug at any time is abuse of it, and that will lead to drug dependency, which of course we call it addiction. And when there's dependency on drugs, the tendency is for that person to become dependent solely on such drug, and that will lead to destruction. It leads to the person's becoming useless to the society, to herself or to himself, and that is where the law will come in, that anyone who possesses such illicit drug commits an offense.
All right. You know, just before we joined you, we were talking about the increase in the use of these illicit drugs by women. And on our own, we have actually had a lot of postulations as to why, and the statistical record as well. Could you shed more light? Because recently I know that you were able to nab some women, some of them at the airport, who were actually carrying drugs and also are drug users. My question is, why are women really, getting deeper and deeper into this culture of drug use, illicit drug use? Because in the past, we actually, when we hear people, this person is a drug abuse person, we always give it that gender, the he gender. Why is it now women?
Well, drug use is not peculiar to women. Neither would I say it is gender-based. Drug use could be anyone. The prevalence of drug use in the country, in Nigeria now, is huge, just as it is in so many countries in the world. So when you see so many women coming into it, it's because they're part of the demographic structure of the country. And the reason for that is drug use is prevalence amongst every category of human being, including the gender types you belong to. So basically, when you see women in drugs, of course, in the last survey done by UN, it shows that every 4 drug person who has used drug in the past years, one of them is a woman. And of course, that is based on the research conducted, and we think it is quite alarming to have at least 1 in every 4. But that does not mean that it is particularly limited to gender use of drugs. It depends on where you are, and it depends on the circumstances affecting that particular individual. And it depends on the disposition of that individual to drug use as well. Because drug use could be, the cause of it could be for so many factors. It could be because you want to be, or because of peer pressure, or because of certain things which is affecting you, either your social or your economic status, or your social being within the community where you live. That could be the reason why drug use could be there. So for women who are into drug, hitherto women are seen to be people who are just at the background, so it is not recorded as being into so many things that you classify men to be. But with the statistic coming up, and with the fact that urbanization as well as globalization, we see that women increasingly participate in all activities. And when you see them being visible, you also see they are human beings. They are also visible in the use of certain illicit things. And that's why you say women are increasingly using drugs. But of course, it is not peculiar to women. It is the vice that is affecting every gender in the world now, particularly in the sub-Saharan Africa.
All right, so let me let you take a breather while the women get to talk some more, because as women, one of our primary, concern is our children, and it's amazing. It's I don't know, mind-blowingly annoying that we find out that teenagers not just taking it, they're also initiating very young people. Have you noticed this trend? There's this particular one in school. A girl who turned 18 and they had to make her take drugs to show that she's capable. And they were chanting when she was able to, sniff in one. They kept going, go this, go this, go this. I don't want to embarrass people, so I don't want to play that video. But I don't know if you've noticed that the young ones are really into it.
Well, I think it's been there for some time now.
I know.
Young people, peer
but
pressure.
they're more audacious now with it.
Is it that they are more audacious, or there's more of social
Awareness.
media prevalence? Because I think these things have always been there. It's just now that they take videos of it.
Yeah.
But from time immemorial, it's been there. It's a sad reality, especially in high schools and universities. It's getting worse.
Yeah.
In fact, now most people who talk about university, they say this is the trend in universities.
Yeah. Sorry.
It's
That's the
unfortunate.
truth.
Yeah.
That's the truth. You see, the thing here is, like we always say that parents should be intentional. There's some certain things parents don't want to discuss with their kids, which I find very, very sad. That was the difference with us. When we were growing up, they used to tell us, be sure of yourself. You should not do this. Don't let this person do this. If you do this, this is what is going to happen. These are the consequences of what's going to happen. But now, the biggest problem I have now is that parents are taking it.
Yeah.
So their kids are taking it with them. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's happening.
What do you mean with them? They're doing it together.
They're doing it
with
together.
each other,
They're
among
doing
each
it
other?
together. They're
Papa
doing.
now.
Yeah.
They're doing, sweetie.
As a parent,
As a
I'm sitting and doing
parent,
drugs
you see, let me
with
tell
my
you.
child.
Not young children, of
Not
course.
young, not
No,
see,
I mean child in
I am
context
telling
of
you.
offspring.
Yes.
It does happen.
You see, it's happening. So the thing here is, why would you not sit your kids down and tell them? You see, that's why most of the time I hardly go to just anybody's place, or I'm not too much of a party person. Some weeks ago, I went to some states for my friend's mom's 80th, and I'd not been to a nightclub in a long time. And people used to tell me, why don't I like to go to a nightclub? Because the next day my wig is smelling
Cigarettes.
really bad, and I just say no, I won't do that.
Why does your wig smell? Because
Of the
smoke. It's the smoke.
it's the smoke and everything.
Okay.
So it used to get to me,
the smoke
So-
from cigarettes or what?
Yeah, from the
Everything they are
environment
smoking.
in that place, because
Everything they are
is,
smoking.
So,
your clothes
yeah,
and everything.
everything.
They're
So the
sucking in.
thing here was, I saw some little girls. With the older sex and male sex, and I saw what they were doing. You see, they have to. I always tell people that most places you go to, your drinks are laced. They're laced because they were sitting this side. I was sitting. I'm a 10 o'clock person because my eyes were closing, but I was watching, and I felt so sad because these people were boozing, they were using shisha and all that. And let me tell you, there is no how you can cope after that day, not making it a habit. I couldn't wait to get out of that nightclub because one is not my style, and I just feel that many people do this thing to belong. And it's about time the parents tell their kids, look, you don't have to drink, you don't have to take drugs to belong. I don't drink, I have never drank, I have never smoked. Excuse me, I turned out well. So we have to teach our kids there is too much happening. And the minute you start to take the drug, it's very difficult to get out.
Yeah.
Because even biscuits, I said my story here the day I went somewhere and I was given palm wine. I like palm wine. Then the minute I took it, I started shaking.
Wow.
So then I said, oh, sorry, they gave you the wrong one. So then I had to now start doing the water therapy for detox. So too many things are happening. And
So there was the right one and the wrong one.
yes,
for the
there's the
person.
right one and the wrong one. But the guy that gave me palm wine gave me the wrong palm wine. The palm wine they gave me, I think it had maybe something Indian hem or something in it.
No, this is a big deal for me because for a long time I have been drumming it into my own head and the heads of my children. When you go to a place, please don't take any drink that you did not open by yourself. And as a matter of fact,
Very
if you don't hear the don't take
Yeah,
it.
because they could open it
You
and
know,
put something
Yeah.
and
don't
close it.
take packet juice anymore
Yeah,
because
they
they'll use
inject
syringe
it.
and inject
Yeah,
it.
we know that.
You know, but why are we supposed to live in this kind of fear? And my question is, I'll go back to the NDLEA man and get to find out. Luckily, he's a barrister. So I would like to know if, by any chance, somebody spikes my drink, do I have the power of litigation? Can I come to your office?
Oh, well, you need to, precisely, you need to have proof that your drink or your food
My
has been
bloodstream
spiked.
should be able to tell that there was something.
Yes, I think what determines the proof is that particular drink could be subjected to scientific analysis to see that it was actually spiked, and being spiked means that it contains other ingredients other than what it should be in that particular drink. So that sense, the elements of the chemical that is contained in it will be analyzed to see that it is drugs or is anything that could cause harm to the person who was taking it. So in that sense, you have to prove as well who had actually spiked it. So the person who owns the place may take the occupier's liability in the sense of saying that, okay, he is the one who actually, you'll be the presumed person who have done it, except you can prove otherwise. But yes, of course, you can maintain an action if such a thing happened to you in a particular environment where you know it is a controlled environment.
That's a good one. Now, I'll still be on you and find out. Recently, it's not too recently, but then it used to be within certain class where you go to a party and there are cookies and cakes baked with some funny substance, you know. Now it's even going down to children's party. What awareness is NDLA creating? Because I know tomorrow is drug abuse, the World Drug Abuse Day.
Yeah.
What awareness are we creating, you know, in the lives of citizens to ensure that our children can go to children's party, for crying out loud, children's party, and have children's kind of food, not spiked kind of cookies, rice, you know, cakes, and these things are not cheap anyway.
Yeah, well, of course, the awareness is there. We have what we call a war against drug abuse, which is a campaign strategy against drug use in schools and in families, with homes and everyone. So parents take primary responsibility in this case. If you have a child going to a party, you should know where he's going or she is going. You should know the type of party he or she is attending. And then, of course, if it's an adult child, you should also caution such an adult child, like one of the speakers had just said, please don't take drinks that comes in a pack, and if you're taking anyone in the bottle, make sure that it comes out to the fizz sound before you take it. So all those things are the campaign or are the primary thing that the parents should actually educate their kids before going to any party or going to a social gathering. You know, the primary responsibility is on the parents, and we are educating parents and families as well to see how they can avoid drug abuse or drug use in any environment, including social interactions and parties. We have arrested some of these cookies. We have arrested some couriers carrying cookies and those ones who make cookies as well. We do have quite many of our personnel doing what we call covert operations, particularly those who are manufacturing foods at home or in their factories. We have so many food manufacturers these days, either from home or from anywhere. We have so many people selling food from their home on the internet, and we are monitoring the development of such food manufacturing or such food making. So it is something that everyone, including parents, should take responsibility to ensure that the children are properly educated regarding the type of cookies or type of biscuits or bread or whatever they take in anywhere. In fact, even as an adult, the speaker had just said as well that he went to a place and was given a wrong palm wine. There's a wrong palm wine, wrong tea, wrong pepper soup, wrong food anywhere you go. In so many of these restaurants, you have to know the restaurant you go to. If you go to Mama Put, and that Mama Put is such a place where they have known customers. When you come in, you signify, they know the type of food they give you. If you mistakenly give a sign which you tell them, oh, what you need is Colorado in your pepper soup, they'll give it to you. And that's exactly what it is in so many of these eateries you see around. So one has to be careful, and I think we're doing a lot of campaign. We're also doing a lot of covert operations to see that some of these people who peddle drugs in the name of food are also taken off the street. Indeed, we have a lot of information regarding food sellers who lace food for their customers or lace food in tea particularly. You know, they give all sort of exotic teas in parks and in restaurants these days. Some of them have specific customers. Some are laced with drugs, depending on the type of drug you're used to. You come in, they know you, they offer you that one. So we know what is happening. But the most important thing is the primary responsibility resides on the parents to see how they can educate their children and adult child as well, to say, look, be careful where you're going, know what you take. And as an adult, you also have to educate yourself and know the type of restaurant and the type of party you attend.
I'm really confused. I think it goes back to just eat in your house.
We cannot eat in our house all the time. Me, I have this amala. I used to go and buy amala with ewedu and orishirishi and all because my mind is just, it's bugging. I'm going like, oh my God. So is it possible?
Let me say this. You see, there are restaurants that you know that if you take anything,
you react.
That restaurant, if you take anything and there's anything wrong with you, you can actually hold them responsible.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I go to Hilton, for instance, and I take any food there and I come out with any reaction, I want to see what it is that I've taken. And if it's proved that Hilton poisoned the food, I'll maintain an action against them. Or my family will maintain an action against them. If I go to any Mama Put on the street that is not known and you take anything, you can't even go back. You may not even see that woman who sells the food to you.
True.
Okay.
So you have to know, and at least within you know the integrity of the hotel, of the restaurant you patronize. Same with the type of club you patronize or where you go for your drinks. So it's not just anywhere you go for tea or you buy suya or you buy anything. You need to know the integrity of such a place before you settle down to eat. And as an adult, of course, I take responsibility for whatever I do, so I have to make good choices for myself.
Yeah.
I will not expect that if I go to a restaurant, like I wouldn't want to mention any restaurant, but a restaurant of note, and I eat food from there, and I come back or immediately I take that food, like you took palm wine, and you started feeling somehow, I'll hold them responsible. In fact, I'll call police immediately. But if it's not a restaurant like anywhere on the roadside, it could even be poisoned by the roadside infection or anything. So you have to know, and you have to educate your children or your wards or your adult children on where to eat and where not to eat.
Thank
you.
I think that puts that in perspective because most of the places we eat are places we've known for years, and we've been eating there because this Yamala has been there for over 10 years, if I can.
All right, it's good to know, but I'd like to now find out, maybe first from the ladies. We talked about children parties and all of that. Sometimes our adult children go out on their own. I recall what my father used to do then. Whenever you step in from wherever you're going to, greeting him, you try to double it. He's raising you up to take a hug. And things that he will say, will really make you funny. He said, "Where did you go to? I don't like your smell." Because he knows that's not the smell you went out with. So if you went to hang out where people smoked, he will perceive it from your hair, your clothes, as he's hugging you. Yeah. And he will warn you. He will say, remember, passive smoking is worse than the direct person.
Yes.
So I don't know, That's a sign, showing that I have been exposed to smoking. I don't smoke. So but he saw the fact that I was around smokers and warned me against it. How do I hug a child who's eating a cookie? If is it hugging, how do I spot a child who has been, taking something that is laced?
It's hard.
It's very hard.
It's very, very hard. And this is where I'll beg to differ with the rest of us, although, of course, we're all free to hold our opinions. Yes, these things have been with us forever, but there's a significant spike now.
Yeah.
True.
Social media is not just drawing our awareness to its existence. Social media is exposing people who would ordinarily never have even considered it
True.
to start doing it.
Yeah.
The world as a whole is more depraved now than it has ever been in every facet. In every facet. There are things that happen that would ordinarily not occur to somebody to do until they notice that, this my peer is doing it, this my peer, this my peer, this my peer, let me try it too.
True.
And that is what social media has done. Now, what we are failing to recognize is that in the larger picture, you see, I used to, as a younger person, I guess I would say I was more naive, I used to be upset at how harsh punishment was for drug peddlers or pushers, because I thought all drugs did was make you feel good and make you feel high. No, drugs push violent crime.
Yeah.
Drugs spike prostitution. Drugs help every kind of vice known to man to flourish.
Yeah.
You see these people arming themselves, roaming around, killing people anyhow.
Yeah.
If you take them and subject them to blood tests, I don't think you'll be able to find one person who is not under the influence of some kind of substance.
Yeah.
And that is the bigger picture. Crime as a whole in our country has spiked as a result of drug use. In the military era, you were found drug peddling, it was the death sentence. In this civilian democratic era, I don't know what they do to the people who peddle the drugs, because these are the people actually destroying our society. But they jail them quietly. We don't really know what's going on. It's all quiet. The NDLA person just spoke about war against drug abuse. I'm hearing it for the first time.
Honestly.
So there isn't enough
Awareness.
there isn't enough awareness about it.
Right,
Back then there would be billboards, network news, you put it on, you see that this person has been executed. So it sent home a message.
True.
So I'm not suggesting that the death sentence be returned, but whatever measures are being taken against drug peddlers should be actively and widely publicized.
And when it's
For
done,
whatever
we
it's
should
worth.
see the people.
Exactly,
So
we
you-
should know them, we should
And
know
there
their
should not be
names.
sacred cows.
There should not be sacred
Yes,
cows.
yes.
We know that it's the elite that
Yeah.
have the access to do these things.
Yeah.
Why is it that we get hold of the small person,
Yeah.
but it never gets traced back to the kingpin?
All right, so I hope, Barrister Haruna, you're listening, and that's actually for you. And I'm going to add one more to it. Somebody here says, good morning, my name is Prince Chooks from Abuja. I think the government, that's the NDLEA, should stop some local chemists and pharmacies from selling hard drugs like tramadol, and with it, it will reduce the numbers of drug abuse in our country. So I'll roll all this to you. One, Devon wants you to make public the punishment of the peddlers, and then Chooks wants you to also, bar the local chemists from selling hard drugs.
Yes, let me start from the one from Chooks. Chooks said we should ban them. Well, the power to do that, we regulate. We actually control so many of these pharmaceutical community pharmacies. We regulate patent medicine dealers, regulating in the sense that we control the type of drugs sold on their counters and all those things. But to ban them, it is not NDLA's power. It's not within the power of NDLA to do that. It's actually Federal Ministry of Health or any other. They gave license to those ones qualified to sell, and NAFDAC also control them. So what we do is to control that illicit drugs or controlled drugs are not sold. And those ones that should be sold with prescription. So that's the sort of thing we do there. We cannot ban outrightly. It's not within the power of NDLA to do that. On the issue of the other one mentioned, that we should make public the type of punishment given out to drug peddlers. Yes, indeed, we have records of people who have been convicted, but the point there is, when a criminal justice action starts today, for instance, somebody is arrested today, you will not see that tomorrow he or she will be jailed immediately. It will take a while. Sometimes it takes about 2 to 3 years. So you may not see the record immediately of those people that have been jailed. You may see the record of arrest and seizures being made by NDLA. But to date, if I give you statistics of the number of people we have convicted in the last 4 or 5 years, we have about 12,000 convicts already. And out of these 12,000, we have barons. Barons are those ones who are real drug distributors. They are the ones who are the base of everything we're talking about. If you look at the pyramid, it's an inverted pyramid where you have the baron at the base, and you have agents, and then the agents have distributors. So in as much as we go after the distributors and those ones in parties that you see them handling and using drugs, we also trace down the inverted pyramid to the baron. And to date, we have about 90 barons in our net, and some of them have been convicted as well. So indeed, because the conviction comes in trickles, we will not be recording them and saying, oh, we have convicted this, we have convicted that. But it does come out in our reports on weekly basis how many people we have convicted in a particular week. If you go through weekly review by NDLA, you would have seen that so many people have been convicted of this drug. So we don't do any quiet thing. Death penalty is not something we want to advocate, and I'm glad you said so. We wouldn't want to advocate death penalty. But what we have now serves as a very good deterrent. For instance, somebody could be convicted to go to jail for 15 years, for 7 years, or more than that, and the property or the assets of such an individual gotten through drug sales or drug business will also be forfeited to the federal government and sold. So there's nothing more than decapitating an individual by taking away the assets which he has acquired by reason of that illicit trade. So in the last 2 to 3 years, so many properties, landed properties, high-valued properties have been taken from drug barons and sold.
All right, really? Red time is no longer on our side. Yes. I was actually going to, I'm interested, and Mr. Haruna will have to bring you back, Barrister, because you tell us what happens to those properties. It's a follow-up now. Okay. But for now, our time is no longer ours. On a very parting words, I would like to have your final say to Nigerians on drug abuse.
Yep. The spiral effect of drug use is destroying our entire nation, along with the collapse of the justice system. These are two things that need to be rolled back.
Okay. And I think Mr. Haruna was talking to me when he talked about drug abuse, because many of us, we just go to the counter because we have a slight headache, we feel feverish, and we buy drugs. So let's watch it.
Enjoy.
Well, I think the thing here is that the pharmacy, we have to do something with our pharmacies, because I think they're one of the base of the issue we're having right now.
All right, my take is, if you think you want to sample drug use and just sample it and see what it is, it's not good. And if you think you don't understand me, I also think you should sample dying and see if you can come back. You can't do it and come back okay, just like you can't die and come back alive. So let's do the right thing. We don't need to test the waters. There's nothing there for us to look at. Be good to yourself, be good to your family, and stay drug-free. See you next week.